The ABA opinion and the various state bars that have addressed the ethical issues surrounding legal outsourcing focus on a number of ethics rules, but in particular they focus on the duty to supervise and the interplay between a lawyer's duty to supervise and the unauthorized practice of law, for example. The lawyers have an obligation under the rules to supervise both subordinate lawyers who are performing work for them and non-lawyer assistants as well. So one of the keys to making sure that that outsourced providers are ethically, that lawyers are working within the ethics rules in dealing with outsourced providers is to make sure that it is ultimately the lawyer who is supervising the work that's being done, and it's the lawyer who bears the ultimate responsibility for the work that's being done. And it's important as part of that process to make sure that the work is being performed directly for the lawyer as opposed to the client, so that really everything passes through the lawyer takes responsibility for it, the lawyer signs off on it, and ultimately it's the lawyer whose signature appears on the work product if it's a brief or a pleading that's being prepared. But really that's sort of the end game here is to make sure that the lawyer can't pass the buck and that it's the lawyer that bears the ultimate responsibility for the work product. No question about it, and the bar opinions all really draw that analogy and basically say that this is just, outsourcing is really an extension of that, and that it's okay for non-lawyers to provide assistance to lawyers, and that extends also into areas such as attorney-client privilege. It's okay for lawyers to communicate with people working under them, even if they're non-lawyers, without destroying the attorney-client privilege. And using outsourced providers creates some additional challenges, particularly when you're dealing with the lack of proximity, you're dealing with language barriers in some instances, you're dealing with oftentimes by electronic communication rather than face-to-face. So it presents some additional challenges, and the lawyers have to really step up and make sure that they have procedures in place to address those, but ultimately it comes down to the same issue that you raised, that it's really no different in fundamentally than dealing with a paralegal or other non-lawyer assistant that's in your office.